Hello everyone, welcome back to What Matters Most. Today we have a very special guest, my dear wife, my beautiful wife, Sara.
Hello, everyone.
Hello Sherry. Sara, good to be in this format with you. And I'm very excited to potentially sharing some of these conversations we have. So do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Want to explain the audience who you are besides how I just introduced to us, right?
Basically, that's what I am. Your wife and the mother of your children. But on the life before you, I come from education, from Jewish education, to be more exact. And I guess.
Where did you grow up?
Gamete. Okay. Okay, so take two. I'm from Israel originally. I was born in LA, but grew up in Bat Yam. And I spent most of my life living in Israel, and currently living in Madrid. I come from a lot of volunteer work and very diverse background in terms of religious education and secular education, and kind of walking in the path of my life through different Jewish communities and different experiences of Judaism. My formal education is in Jewish history and philosophy. And I guess the most experience, because there is a very diverse professional experience, but I guess if I had to put a title to what I've been doing most, is Jewish education. And currently mostly raising my children and working on myself as a person and on expanding the things I enjoy doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
That was a beautiful introduction. I think there is so much to say about the different things that have influenced you in your life, that have made you who you are, that I think I'm hoping we get to explore some of those as well. So, so what would you say is the most important thing?
You.
What matters most?
I think it's a big question in terms of there are different things that I would say matter in different aspects of life. So I guess, yeah, you and our children is I think what matter most to me, and especially what I live through my day to day. If I look maybe in a broader picture, I think what matters most is what we do in this world and the place of tikkun that we bring as our souls to this lifetime. So there is what I came here to do, and there is what I do every day. And I guess what matter most is very also depending on the situation. Like, I guess if a person is hungry, what matters most at the moment is food, and personal, I'm living this right now. If you're extremely tired, what matters most is sleep. So you have your basic needs, but also what holds me through the day, what gives me the support in my life is you and my kids and the family that we created, the house that we built, and all of that. That's what matters most to me today. And take another circle would be my family and friends that are like family, and my community. And
it's beautiful that you're bringing to the point, right, of things like how do we balance sort of our personal matters, needs, redemption versus sort of like how do we show up? What is what is it that we bring to the external world from us, right? Like these sort of like two sides of the same coin in there.
Because you live the internal, but you also live the external, and then you're present in both. So you have to manage the balance between what's going on inside and what I'm experiencing outside. And I think for me, what makes it more clear is the understanding that it's all one. Like there is nothing outside of me. So everything is a reflection. So whatever happens outside is still me. And it's still connected to what I feel, and it's still connected to how I see things and what I chose to focus. And it gives some sort of a balance in the way of understanding that it's created by me and created for me in the same time, at the same time. So
can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Like, what does it mean that there's nothing outside of you for you?
I believe that everything outside is a reflection of the inside because it's how you perceive reality. We are both sitting in the same place doing the same thing, but our experience internally are completely different. So yeah, we can agree that we have a view to the sea, and the sky right now is blue, and there are things that in the collective that we can all share and agree upon that are life experience that we're also in a way kind of programmed to see as you see this is a screen and this is a window and this is a curtain, for example. So those are shared and understood, but within myself there is the place of seeing the reflection of what happens to me in the reality, if it's what I feel at the moment, if it's some interaction that if it's some event or something that happens, and I look where inside it touches.
Mm-hmm.
And then that place of push is where I know it's made for me to realize, for me to grow, for me to learn.
Beautiful.
And then it changes the reality once you understand it. So I see all the time those correlations in my life, and then they kind of build on top of each other. So the connection of how I see the inner connects to the exterior becomes more tight, I guess.
It's interesting that in that context, the sort of closest circles are the ones kind of in charge of touching those points that are most constant and that need more work, right? Like we know that, you are the biggest sort of mirror for me. Like through our relationship and our growth together, I grow the most at the soul of my level, at the level of my soul. And then the kids, right? Our kids are coming here also to.
Don't take it personally, but I think the kids are a much stronger mirror than us.
Not
Like we are.
I think the kids are here to help us with our
We are
past.
here before, so there
Yeah.
is more history between us and more
But
places that we can see.
I think
But I think for me, the clearness, because we still communicate very well and can still like articulate our stuff in a manner that would be more maybe respectful, maybe with some sort of a compassion, or like I want to do it without hurting your feelings or say it in a way that is meant for you, and there is all of this to it. And with the kids it's a very clear, very direct, very in your face kind of mirror. So sometimes for me that's more like a mirror that hits me harder.
so. I think like for me, at least the way I understand it, it's kind of like the kids are here to help us heal our inner child kind of thing.
Yes.
It's like everything that we lived through childhood and reprogram to be able to consciously or intentionally decide who we want to be, right? Like, and shape that aspect. But I think in the context of relationship, it's the most powerful when it comes to what does a relationship mean. And
Yeah.
through relationship is how we get to know ourselves. And I think especially with the relationship with God, and what happened to me many times is that like, when I shared this with you as well, like when I was trying to sort of look for God, I ended up sort of like having to find you and sort of be realizing that I'm trying to actually be with you in presence. And when I'm trying to sort of find you or try to be with your presence, I'm actually finding God, right? Like these three kind of pieces of the core relationship of my life are very intertwined. And definitely through our relationship and our experience, I've grown and matured as a man, as a human being, as in realizing more of my value, inherent value, and so on. So thank you for that. And
Thank you, my love. I think that it's definitely a different relationship because for one, we are adults. We are equal in the standards of our relationship, and we share the work in a sense. And it's a relationship that, yeah, it's full of love, but it's also love that you work on increasing, let's say. And with the kids, it's unconditional love from the very beginning. So You don't need to work on the relationship
Yeah.
in order to grow together. It's like,
You're already
I,
giving.
I see you grow. That's how we work. And I think it's definitely a different interaction as well. But when our relationship is good and nurturing and loving, it definitely floats to the kids, and you feel it too, how they accept it and how we live in a family together. And I definitely believe and also see it in our reality that bringing God closer into our relationship, both for us and for the family, definitely improved our relationship and family vibe.
Yeah. So what do you think is sort of like the work that needs to happen, sort of, let's say, maybe within that family core, in order to get closer to the redemption, our inner redemption?
I think we all choose as a soul the souls that will come with us to help us grow. So we knew that this will happen, even if we don't remember. And our kids definitely chose us as parents because of that. And there is a redemption that happens in the scale of the family tree. Like we come here to fix, in a sense, um, the traumas of the past, the pains that weren't attended, because we live in a generation and in a time where healing is more accessible.
Mm.
And that's part of what we need to do as a family. And I think the more responsibility you take as a person, the more you can heal within yourself and within the future generations and the past generations. So on the larger scale, this is what I believe we came to do.
Yeah.
um, and on today it increases the love within the family. It opens up the communication. It makes the ambience of the house more pleasant, more flow. Like there is a nicer vibe to everything. You don't take that. I think sometimes as a parent, you feel, hey, I've given so much to my kid. I do so much for them. And how do they not appreciate it? And you can take it personal and be offended by your own children. But when you come with this understanding of not just the wholeness that you all share, but that they're here to reflect something for you, then you don't take it as personal. You don't get offended from your own kids. You're like, okay, I see the cry of my inner child. And all I want to do right now is hug you because I want to hug me. And that brings more closeness within the family.
Yeah. Beautiful. And sort of beyond the work we do in the family, how do you see your, let's say, your purpose in this life? How do you channel that energy of like what I'm here to work on and to do?
Um, I think my mission in general always felt connected to the Jewish people. I always felt a part of my people, even when I weren't as religious as I am today. It was a very big part of my identity, my Jewishness. And so I always felt in the purpose of, and I think throughout my life, it came to be expressed in different ways. But since October 7, I received this very clear message of what I'm here to do. And it's to increase unconditional love and unity within our people, um, and the world outside. But I think we are the core. And whenever we will be united and live in unconditional love with each other, will bring that light outside. So it's not with the outside that I need to maintain the relationship right now. And it's not to say that I don't have not Jewish friends or that I'm cutting ties, but in terms of purposeness and destiny and what I'm here to do, I know that's my focus and that's where I stand. Now I feel most of the work is in the one-to-one, to be there for each other, to hold the space, to try to bring more hope and try to bring more light within the context of where we live, to contribute to our community. I I hope that at some point I will be, yes, in a place where I can affect more people with my words or with my ideas or understandings about the world, maybe through this podcast. And as a first step to get out of side of myself also, because there is a challenge for me with just being here, but I believe we get these challenges to grow. So this is me trying to grow
Stepping
as we
into
speak
your future self.
with this happening.
One of the things that I love, how I love to explain what you were just saying about sort of the Jewish kind of healing, collective healing, is that as much as the whole world ideally should be in a loving place and in a healing place, for us, as part of the Jewish people and sort of the commandment we got from God to be a light into the nations, we must heal ourselves first. This is the internal work we need to do, just like you need to heal yourself first in order to be able to help others or guide others into that healing process.
Just like if a plane crashes, you put your mask first and then you assist whoever is next to you. It always comes from within, and you always work in circles of expansion. Like, it's how you bring change. And I think I personally very much a supporter of Aniya Beitcha Kodmim. Like, you first take care of your closest, and then you can have the space to grow, expand, and take care of more. And I think as Jews, we have a purpose in this world. Like, there is a place for everything that exists. It's not like we and them are completely unnecessary and we're the center of the world and why are they here for? No, everything that exists for a reason. Everything that is in our reality has a purpose within our reality. So it's, I understand that there is also a purpose outside, but for me, coming from my reality, from my people, from my understanding, this is where I want to put my energy and time. And to be completely honest, um, before October 7, I aligned more with values outside of Judaism, like what you call liberal values, or although I see liberal values within Judaism all the time, but let's say Western values or
New Age spirituality,
yeah,
progressive
a lot of
values.
things that exactly that may have connected me with people outside of my people or mentalities outside of my people more than what I was connected to religion, for example. And I experienced a huge disappointment after October 7th. A huge disappointment because I thought that all of those values that I aligned myself with did not hold when it came to Jewish people. As an example, just to clarify, because it's very theoretical, I feel what I'm saying, but I consider myself a feminist and I supported women in wherever they are and whatever struggles that are going through. And I got to be like, I educated myself on struggles that women go through in different parts of the world just for being women. And I felt the pain that they were going as mine. And I, I change things in the way I behave or I purchase or I do in order to reduce my part in their pain. And then came October 7th. Terrible things happened to women that are unimaginable, like things that are taken from the worst movies and from scenes that will turn up your stomachs when they're not real. So when they are real, it's even more terrible. And I saw the silence. I saw the silence from all the women rights organizations and all the, maybe there is a justification with the suffering of the Palestinian people. Maybe it's politics, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And all of a sudden, those very clear values of what actually matters, which is in the end of the day, the women themselves, I didn't see that support. And I felt betrayed. I felt like we are not aligned in values as I thought we are. And maybe I don't want to share those values with you if they don't apply to me and my people. Where are you when my sisters are in Gaza? Where are you? So I think for me, it really shaped and kind of put me in the focus of, in a sense, if I'm an ilimili. Like if I'm not to myself, and in that extent to my people, who will be for my people? God, obviously. The answer is God. But I think we also need to be there for each other.
We have a part of responsibility.
Exactly.
So how do you define, for example, like the feminist in you as relating to Judaism?
I think it's more of accepting who am I in this world and in this body. I think I grew up in a family where there are different jobs for the species. Yeah, different roles. You as a woman have this, and him as a man has this, and I, I, I also have four brothers, so I was alone in the role of the woman in my house, other than my mom, obviously. And I went very much against it. I felt injustice at sometimes that I'm the only one doing things just because of my gender. And um, I think also a lot of the times you're fed, but what you see outside, and like if you focus on all the equalities that exist, then you get more upset about it and worked out. And that's basically where I was. And I saw the treatment of women from the outside, of women in Judaism, as something that is maybe sexist, maybe chauvinist, maybe this, maybe that. And when I realized that the role of the woman as a woman in Judaism is just to be her energy and the presence of the feminine, and be happy about it. I didn't try to compare myself to men. I didn't try to compete with men. I didn't try to be something that I'm not meant to be, which I think, in a sense, I'm not taking away what the feminist movement has done for women in terms of equal rights or the ability to vote, to have a bank account, drive a car, things that are very basic today we take for granted and are the work of very strong women that pushed for it. And I think it's a great thing. I'm not going against any of those things. I'm just saying that sometimes in that quest, especially for me, there was a part that came that could even be in a place of saying, not I wish I was a man, but it would have been easier if I was a man, you know? And today I feel very much happy and pleased with being a woman, and very much calm in that aspect and in that essence of energy. I think a lot of the change also happened after bringing life, after giving birth, and seeing what a woman can actually do. And there is a lot of connection in that place. But also, I think I can give a small example about Judaism just to touch directly to your question. Every day when I do my prayer, I say, Baruch Shasani Kirtzono. And men say, Baruch Shelo Asani Isha.
Can you translate?
Yeah. And bless he be for making me as he wishes, versus bless he be for not making me a woman, which is what the men say. And if I look at the men and what he says, I will be offended, because I'm saying, hey, why would he say that he doesn't want to be like me? Kilo, what's wrong with being me? And I can be, but that's looking outside of me on him and try to say how I feel in return to that, in response to that. If I look just as what I say, which is, bless he be for making me as he pleases, and be happy with that creation. Be happy that I made just as he wanted me to be made. There is such joy in that. You know, I'm happy to be as you wanted me to be. It's amazing for me. And thank you, because I'm very happy with who I am, who I grow up to be, who I see myself transforming to, what I have in my life. All of that package I love. And I'm very much grateful for that. So I think that a lot of the time, in terms of feminism, it's a response to the men. I look at men, what they can do, what are available for them, what they are doing, and how I can be or do the same. And it's kind of taken away from, but where am I? What am I bringing as me? Why do I need to compare myself to someone else that is not me inherently? And it's completely different. So when you also take that to the energetic level of conversation and understand that my energy is feminine, which means I'm being, and your energy is masculine, which means it's doing. And it's completely different energies that serves each other all the time and work in harmony. When I'm me and you're you, we can be very happy together because we work together and complete each other. When I try to be you, then either we both the same and then we clash, or you try to be me and we're both the opposite of what we're intended to be, and we're not service the purpose, so we're not happy where we are. So it's just like a reverse way for me to look at how I'm basically meant to be to start with. I hope it was clear. I'm sorry if it was a bit.
No, that was beautiful. I think it's very powerful. Generally, for me, when thinking about the difference in terms of the role of men and the role of women, especially when it comes to religion, like, men have a lot more mitzvot, right? Like commandments, like we put tefillin, we have to do 3 prayers a day, we have a lot of these things. It's like, why do women only have like sort of like the 3 mitzvot, right? Like, and a lot of people would say, well, like it's not equal, right? Like, why don't want women have a mitzvah to pray? Like, oh, they can pray, right? But my understanding of it, and I don't remember exactly where it came, it kind of was put into pieces, is like this idea that like the woman as an entity that has the potential to create life inside of its body, of her body, inherently is in a higher spiritual level than men, right? And I think we can see that in the day to day from like sort of women being more emotional, more emotionally attuned, more present. Why are women sort of traditionally in the role of education and educating the kids in the house? Because they have more emotional availability, right? And so to me, it's saying sort of like, well, actually, like, men has more commandments because men have more challenges to overcome or more work to be done in order to reach a higher spiritual level, right? So it's a really interesting question as to how that dynamic works in the world, in my opinion. And as you said, I think it's beautiful to just say, like, look, God made me in this way, and there's a purpose for that, and I'm trying I'm here and trying to just figure out what that purpose is.
I think in response to what you said, there is this notion in Judaism of women having binayat, like extra connection, let's say. It also correlates with women getting their bat mitzvah at the age of 12 versus men getting it at the age of 13. So there is clearly differences between men and women, and that's okay. It's really okay to admit it and to own it.
mhm,
And I think, yes, there is, women have intuition, and intuition connects you to your source. It enables you to just receive messages very clearly when you're tuned. And men sometimes maybe need more the structure of mitzvot, the structure of tefillot. Also, from, again, if your main energy is doing, then praying puts you in being because you have to stop. It's not a mission you do.
yeah,
It's a way to connect and kind of sit within.
yeah,
So it's something that is, it it's just to give you more, to complete yourself within yourself, because I want to be clear on the energetic level that both men and women have both energies. You have masculine energy and you have feminine energy because you are made from a man and a woman, from an egg and a sperm. So you are holding both. But I believe that because I came in a body of a woman, then the main energy that I'm serving is the feminine. I still have masculine, I still do things, but the masculine should serve my feminine. And for men, it's the other way around. You do the masculine, you do the doing, but you have the feminine to complete it and hold you with grace or with compassion. Or with you also have feelings. Maybe women are more connected to their emotions, or maybe they express them more, or all of that. But men still feel.
mm,
So we are all, in a sense, the same, but we come in different bodies with different core energy that's supposed to lead us. And we need to learn how to work both our body and both the energy, both our secondary energy, and see how they're all in alignment in order to serve us as people holding your space in this world in the best way possible, which means in a certain peace.
Yeah.
Like, and I think when you accept it, when you truly accept who you are, just as a, not even like what's your purpose, where you should be, where you see yourself at, just where you are right now with what you got as a baseline. When you accept that into yourself as this is who I am, you feel more complete and more in acceptance. And if we take it another level, let's say to who I am in my essence, you are soul. So in your essence, you are divine and you are connected to the divine and to all. So you can also take this persona and this body and this name and this who you are right now as the temporary part of you. And that's also okay to be like, okay, this is who I am. Thank you for this. But it's also not all of what I am because I have a deeper part that has existed before and will exist after.
Yeah, it's not your essence.
It's just the,
Yeah.
let's say, vessel for this
Right.
life, this reality.
So I think we are in a place in this conversation where it's beautiful how we are going to bring this concept, and you're going to see the connection immediately. We're touching upon the healing, the relationship, the duality of female male, and you mentioned the keyword missing, which was peace. So how do you relate all of these into what matters most, which in Judaism many times it's said to be Shalom Bayit? Right? Like the most important thing that most rabbis, right, will ever say, or the sages will ever say, like, just keep Shalom Bayit. Shalom Bayit meaning peace in the home, right? Like how do we relate in harmony to our life partner?
So you wanted advice on Shalom Bayit. How do you get
Feel
Shalom
free.
Bayit?
Feel free. Why is it so important? What is so powerful about it?
I think, it's like what is important about it is that it sets the tone to your everyday life. You live within your home. So when your home is pleasant and your relationship is good with your partner, with your kids, it's nice. You come home to a place that you want to be in and you enjoy the interactions with the people who live with you.
Very practical way.
So it's like, it's a very nurturing environment for you, for your everyday. So I think in that practical sense, Shalom Bayit just gives you a pleasant environment, pleasant life experience into your day to day, which you are present most in. Okay. I think in the spiritual level, Shalom Bayit, because of the connection that there is in a man and a woman in the moment of their wedding, you you bring God into the union. You bring God into, or God is with you in every child you bring. So there is godly present clearly in everything all the time, but in those aspects, it's more present. So in the spiritual level, when there is a place of peace and shalom bayit between the man and the woman, there is shechina, shora. There is godly essence within the house, within the relationship. So when you actively do that, you bring that essence into your life, you bring it into the world, you increase the light. So you have the practical every day, you have the spiritual affects other worlds, other, let's say, levels of this, of this experience of reality. How you get to do it, I think, is the every person maybe say something else in terms of his relationship, but I think for me, what gets me closer to you is to look at you with a positive eye, בעין טובה, to look at the situation and think to myself, he's doing it for me. Is wanting, like his intention is good, to come from a very positive place. When you do something that I don't necessarily like or would want you to do, I try to look at where were your intention in the positive way. And when you do something that I love, I increase it. Me'od, like, wow, what a thing, what an effort, what. So the place of looking at you with a positive eye, it really helps me overcome little voices of traumas or hurts, or that say, why did you do this, and I didn't want it this way, and no, 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 and like it helps overcome those voices and be more in a place of closeness than separation.
Thank you for that response. I think for me, one very specific kind of component of all this is both two things. Like one is sort of the whole point of nida and sort of like the balance between being close and stepping away and going back intentionally. I think it's a very beautiful way of re-engaging, right? Of rediscovering, of reigniting kind of that flame and that passion and that excitement. Um, and the other part is sort of the question of um, what is sort of my credit in the things that I do versus our credit, our influence. Like I work, I get the, parnasa, whatever, and then, working in this project and company and previously I would have said something like, hey, I'm working all day and I'm bringing this parnasa and what's up, right? And today I'm much more saying like, well, like you are the one that actually brings the parnasa, right? Like how we learn it also from the wisdom of the sages and Chazal and whatnot. That like it's the wife, it's the woman that brings the parnasa through her blessing, through seeing her husband through a good eye, through like enabling that work and that connection and that shalom bayit. So like shalom bayit is in some sense the core of what will trigger all the blessings in the husband's and the wife's life.
So I want to say, first of all, just to clarify, that all blessings and all parnasa and all sheva comes from God, always. But we're channels. We're vessels for that abundance that can come through us, and it can come through you and the doing and the work you put in to actually bringing that to our home. And it can be for me and my being and my blessing and the energy I give to you and the support I give to you and the space that I can and allow for you to have peace and quiet while you focus on what you need, because I will take care of the kids or I'll create a setting. So it's kind of the way we we interact with each other that brings holistically this abundance into our life. I also wanted to make differentiate.
To differentiate, huh?
Yeah, between nida, which by the way I love, and mikveh I think is one of the most beautiful mitzvot and experiences that I'm happy that I do.
Want to explain nida? What is nida?
Nida is basically keeping a distance, a physical distance from your husband throughout the day of the period and then 7 days after. And once you finish, you go to the mikveh, which is a place of water.
Purification.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's I'm a personally a fan of water in general, but I think the type of cleansing that I feel there, the way I connect to the moment, the way I feel when I get out, it's just priceless. It's there. I don't even know if I can find the words to explain how I feel in those moments. I wait for it and I count, which is another thing. Like you're supposed to count and do checks for those 7 days. So there's also a preparation and there is also expectation, and I think that connects very much to what you said about waiting for it and having the flame back. And it's like a first date all of a sudden. Like you have 2 weeks in a month that you can touch each other and 2 weeks that you can't, and the time of separation kind of brings back the value of what it means to be close. And in those 2 weeks that you can touch, you have to work on intimacy that is not physical, so you also gain that, which I think it's amazing. I just wanted my point about it was to say that there are things that we receive from God as instructions, and those are meant to help us, no doubt. So if you take that instruction and you follow it, it will do you good in the relationship. But there are also things that are your responsibility within the relationship. And that's what I meant in terms of looking at someone with a positive eye or doing, because that's within you. Obviously, if we read, we'll find a rabbi that said that or a sage that gave this type of guiding. Like it's all existing within our rooted within our culture. I'm just saying that it's more of a personal choice and personal effort all the time versus something that is stricted in a time, is stricted by rules, that has this
like it creates
this way.
intention
Yeah.
into the relationship.
And I think also for us, something that really resonates within our relationship is our friendship. We are very good friends.
Yeah.
We were good friends even in times of the relationship wasn't as good as a relationship. We could still feel that we're good friends.
Yeah.
And I think that something that really got us close is the friendship of us. And when you also look at your partner as a friend, you are much more open and light on them. Like you wouldn't allow yourself to get maybe as mad at a friend where you expect maybe less than what you would at a partner that you expect a lot more from. So there is something there also within the what do I expect, how much of that I'm actually accepting, how much I'm accepting within myself that I didn't accept what I expected, and how I cope with that or coexist with those feelings inside me. And I think when you put it in a frame of friendship, there is expectations around, okay, he treats me with kindness, with respect. There are like these, let's say, unwritten rules of how you interact with people that you love. But there is also like understanding that they're also people. They have their feelings, they have their understanding of life, and they don't owe you anything. And when you put that into perspective of relationship, then things settle. Like you don't take things in the drama or the, let's say, intensity that it can create when it needs to do this. It wasn't meant, it wasn't done the way I wanted it to be. And this is how I feel about it. Yeah. Because our feelings are also very much connected to where we are in our thoughts. So if I think this way about you, then the feeling that I'm going to generate won't be positive. Yeah. But when my mentality or my thoughts are in a positive way towards you because I have appreciation, because I have gratitude for what you do, then my feelings will also correlate to those thoughts and it changed completely.
Yeah, it can be both very theoretical and very practical. It's harder to usually get the practice right.
And it comes back to how we started this conversation because it's how we can both sit in the same situation and live a completely different situation. You understand? Because a lot of what you experience is inside. So if I translate this situation as a positive one, as a fun one, as a nice one, then my feelings are all bubbly and happy. But if I'm sitting here stressed and with anxiety, then all of this would be a nightmare for me. But it can be heaven for you. So that's why we can share the same exact setting and be in complete different mindset. So it's a personal responsibility.
Yeah. I guess we'll probably have a second recording and a third one and a fourth, and talk a little bit also about our Jewish experience and our work and purpose there. But just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Love you very much. I'm very excited we can do this together.
Me too.
As part of our relationship and our friendship and our purpose, our shared purpose. And Baruch Hashem, so we can do it.
Amen. And I want to finish by saying that I very much appreciate you. I very much enjoy being your wife. I'm very happy that you're my husband. My soul chose well, I have to admit. And thank you for inviting me and counting me in what matters most to you.
I mean, I had to create a whole podcast in order for us to actually record a conversation. So.
It's very true. I'll do a side note. We've been talking about doing a podcast for a very long time. I was very hesitant because I feel very comfortable in talking to people in person and very uncomfortable being online on social media or any other aspect of that. And so while we postponed actually doing the doing part of our relationship went indeed. mamash. And now when it exists, I can be invited and get out of my uncomfortable place to do, my comfort zone, to be really doing something that I believe I should be doing. I just sometimes have pulled back from because of the fears and because of, which, by the way, I have to say, wasn't as frightening as I thought it would be. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you, God, for creating all the setting and all the right timings for things to happen.
Man.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we hope you enjoyed it. Please give us a like, follow, and comment, and follow Sherry Sara as well.